Yo, what up? It's TGIFridays with TameMosez. We're up here in Monavale. We're gonna go bump into Will Stolk from Ballinonabudget Media. He had the Ballinonabudget page, which had over 1 million followers, which got taken away. Scumbags. But yeah, we're about to go bump into him. He's gonna go talk about what he does and what he's been doing, new projects he's got going on. He's a professional skier, or was a professional skier, now he's a social media influencer. So yeah, we're gonna go see what he's got on. Let's go. Woo! You want to tell everyone who you are and what you do?
My name's Willy Biggs Stolk. I'm a former professional freestyle and big mountain snow skier, turned creative producer, content creator, and TV host, and probably podcaster and professional wanker, all mixed into one, depending on the day. I've kind of transitioned from being a professional athlete after blowing my left knee. I did my meniscus and my ACL. That took me out of the game for about 18 months. I used to be it all started for me when I was a little kid. I was a mogul skier, and then after that I moved to Canada when I was like 15 with my family to a place called Fernie. We lived there for a few seasons after living in Switzerland as a younger kid, and then after that, I kind of transitioned into freeriding and competing in park, and I was did a few competitions and did a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I then transitioned into running a magazine, and then now I run a website called Ballinonabudget, a creative agency called People Like Us, Creative Collective, and then now I'm getting into the TV game with a couple of reality TV shows that I'm working on that potentially might be sold to a few numerous US networks I'm not allowed to talk about at the moment. And then also we're getting into the cannabis game in the States with a CBD company called Ballin CBD. We're the guiding light towards health and wellness through cannabis. Check us out, ballinonabudget.com, and yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What about skiing? So, has it taken you anywhere around the world?
Skiing originally started for me when I was about 10 years old. My parents had 3 Mexican restaurants, and some family stuff happened, and my dad basically came to the conclusion that life was too short and it wasn't all about money. And he packed us all up, my 2 brothers and my sister and my mum and me, and we moved to a place called Verbier in Switzerland when I was 10. And basically I didn't go to school for 4 months, and I just got into skiing. So I lived there for about 2 or 3 winters when I was a kid, and then I started getting into mogul skiing. After I skied moguls for a while, lived in France, learned how to speak French.
How was that?
That was pretty interesting. French culture has been a pretty big part of my life. Obviously, I've grown up in Switzerland and France.
Yeah.
And that transitioned into free riding, a little bit of park riding and filming. I've had a lot of sponsors over the years, and then that transitioned into big mountain skiing, which was basically my major passion. So skiing's taken me all over the world. I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Japan, spent numerous seasons in Whistler in Canada, lots of seasons in Mammoth, lots of seasons obviously in Switzerland and France, a little bit in Germany and stuff like that.
Where do you reckon is the best place to go is to the snow?
My favourite place that I've ever been was I got the opportunity last year to go on just a fun family trip to Sochi in Russia. We went there for about 3 weeks in March. It was a pretty amazing experience. The women there are ridiculously hot. The skiing's phenomenal, and the food was interesting. It was like the wild, wild west. It was a really interesting experience, and I'd really like to go back to Russia really soon. And
what's the biggest competition you've been in?
I competed in numerous world tour competitions for freeriding over the years. Did that on and off for a long time. I was more so into shooting photos and a little bit of video stuff. I was more like always good at probably getting good ski shots for magazines and stuff like that. Was kind of what I was more into.
How'd that go for you? Were you a rock star?
Borderline. I think it depends on the day. I've had every shitty job under the sun that you could ever imagine, but I've definitely had my rock star moments. I've been to the Playboy Mansion a couple of times, got to meet Hef.
How's that? What's he like?
He seemed like a pretty interesting dude. He's obviously he's gone the way of the dodo now, But you know, he was an interesting cat. I didn't get to shoot the shit with him. I maybe talked to him for about 30 seconds, but he was a pretty interesting dude. That whole opportunity when we went to the Playboy Mansion ended up in us starting a men's magazine, which ended up becoming the biggest independent men's magazine in Australia. It was called Apollo. We were doing 10,000 issues every quarter. We did that for about 2 years. Obviously, we probably got into the game a little bit late. Magazines were on the way down, on the way to the dodo again. You know, that poor old dodo bird getting extinct. And then I started a company called Ballinonabudget, which I've been doing now for about 6 years. We got to, you know, we do action sports, cannabis culture, hot women, style, and all sorts of documentaries and stuff like that. I TV host, I do a podcast. And you know, it's been an interesting ride. We built it up to about almost 1 million fans on Facebook, which then, you know, at one point we had one of the top 5 most trending Facebook fan pages on planet Earth for about 6 months there. And then through happenstance and posting weed content and content that we probably shouldn't have been posting, Facebook deleted our Facebook account, which was a bit of a pain in the ass, or it's actually a major pain in the ass. So, you know, if you're watching this, go check out our Facebook page, Ballinonabudget Media.
Go check that out.
You know, so now we're just trying to rebuild the channel. I've got a few other endeavours going on in the cannabis space, more the health and wellness side, CBDs, and then also a TV show that I've produced and kind of come up with that is about Instagram models. It's going to an unnamed large TV conglomerate in America potentially very soon. And you know, I do miss skiing. It was a very major part of my life, but at one point, you know, you kind of got to have a little bit of variety. You know, I chased snow for probably 17, 18 years of my life, from the age of 10 until I was about 29, about 2 or 3 years ago. I was skiing, you know, 150 to 200 days a year, competing all over the world, filming for movies, shooting for magazines. And it was a really interesting part of my life. I really enjoyed it. I met a lot of really amazing friends, smoked a whole lot of weed, drunk a whole lot of booze, and obviously, you know, I probably didn't get to the highest level of my potential because I'm a little bit of a maniac and I like to party. But, you know, you can't buy those times and those amazing experiences that we got to have.
How'd you even get into the social media game?
I got into the social media game basically through the magazine. One of my ex-girlfriends was a girl-on-girl porn star that I met in Canada. And she was the runner-up 2011 Penthouse Pet of the Year. And so she ended up living with me in Australia on the Gold Coast at the infamous Ballinonabudget ranch, which you've probably seen in a few Bliss N Eso music videos, and probably at an upcoming Maxim party, which you might see on this same channel very soon. And basically, you know, through meeting her, we ended up going to the Playboy Mansion and hanging out, and that kind of transitioned into running a magazine. And then I just had this idea one day, and one of my friends, one of my kind of semi-pro snowboarder skater mates from Mammoth in California, he always used to coin the phrase "balling on a budget." You know, we're living the rock star life while still being, you know, a little bit of a bum, and which was something that we always did. You know, I've lived in saunas, I've lived in bathtubs, I've you know, slept in vans for months at a time. I've basically lived the ski bum rock star lifestyle for many years. I got paid to ski, but coming from Australia, and you know, unless you're in the top, you know, 2% percentile of what you do in that sport, you know, you kind of get lost in the wayside. And it was an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've met probably the most amazing people you could ever imagine, and I really like going fast and jumping off big cliffs, and you know, nothing beats a powder day and smoking blunts in the gondola. Next thing is medical cannabis and basically CBDs. I'm working with a company out of Canada, which is one of the top 3 CBD producers in the world. Our company's called Byron Bay CBD. We're the guiding light towards health and wellness using cannabis. And basically, you know, I'd like to give back to people and make money at the same time, but basically, you know, just help people with all their ailments. And you know, cannabis has been a really big part of my life. I think it's got a lot of beneficial, you know, attributes to be able to help people with their day-to-day struggles of anxiety and, you know, joint pain and all sorts of stuff like that. So,
what about the Red Bull event you were in? How'd that go down?
Yeah, recently my friends and I, my DJ friend, Sebby Lids and my very interesting friend Craze from the Craze Co. We got together, and you know, Craze and I have been doing all sorts of crazy stuff over the last couple of years. We did some pretty large cannabis activations where we put up 100 fake weed plants all through the town of Sydney and got on the news. And then we had another fake weed grow up in the middle of King's Cross last 420. This event came up, and I've always wanted to kind of do this strange event called the Red Bull Flutag, where you build your strange flying contraption.
So what was your flying contraption?
It was called the Batwing.
Batwing.
Alex, Seb, and my friend's girlfriend Emily, who's a model. She's a very lovely person. We were destined to fly into the oblivion and break the Red Bull Flutag world record, but that didn't work out. We kind of had some technical problems on takeoff, and Alec kind of snapped his takeoff gear and went into the drink. But you know, it was a really interesting experience. We love Red Bull. We've worked with Red Bull a lot over the years. It was really fun. There was probably 20 or 30,000 people there watching. Obviously, you're probably looking at some clips now. And it was really fun to build a team environment and just come together and create something cool and document it and just basically have a good time and do something totally out of the ordinary.
What about any other projects you got going on?
I'm in the process right now of refocusing my whole hustle on creating more content.
What sort of content?
More so content about cannabis culture, about action sports. I host a TV show called Curators of Culture. We've got a new one coming out on one of the gentlemen from Fundamentals. I just dropped one on my friend Robbie Madison. I did another one on Prevail from Swallow Members. Another one you can find that on my YouTube channel. That's Willy's World on YouTube. Just Google Willy's World. On the bottom down the right. Subscribe to my channel, motherfucker. And you know, so that, and then I'm releasing a new podcast which is called Random Rants, and then I have a vlog series called Willy's World. We've got the cannabis coming out in California, and then hopefully that'll, you know, we can get some legalized medical here in New Zealand and Australia, which would, you know, be good for the little skyrocket here in the pocket. And then also we've got a TV show coming out soon on a rather large American network, which I can't really talk about. And then we've also got another project coming together with Maxim Australia, which is obviously Maxim Magazine. So that'll be pretty interesting. 2019 is shaping up to be a pretty amazing year, and we're pretty stoked on the whole way. That 2018 was a building year, but I'm overbuilding. It's time to pull triggers, and it's time to take over the world.
Thanks, Willy, for coming out. You're a legend.
Cheers, Tame.
Shout outs for...
Yeah, shout outs to the Craze Code, Seb, any girls that I'm currently dating at this time of this shooting. Hello.
Willy's World.
Check out Willy's World on Instagram and Ballinonabudget Media on YouTube. Follow my podcast, big interviews with some of the biggest people in the world, ballinonabudget.tv. And
people can buy.
Yeah, B.O.B.supply.com.
Come on, get down there, guys.
Get down, check it out, and support the cause.
And the culture.
And the culture. You heard.
It's Friday. You ain't got no job. It's Friday.
You ain't got shit to do.